Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Thursday, April 15th, 2021. We're in the final hour of the trading day, which is my favorite day, the favorite time of the day to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. At the end of the day, the large financial institutions, they start getting to work. They start making their buying and selling decisions. They move the price. They take the price control away from the day traders and algorithms, and they move it to certain levels. And some of those levels are important levels for me to either buy something or sell something at the end of the day. So they're dealing with the most money. They have very smart people. They have the best technology and the best information, and I consider following what the large financial institutions are doing at the end of the day. I consider that a long-term edge in your trading. So thank you all for coming today. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are having a good day. It's been kind of a crazy day in the markets right now. Currently, the Dow is up 285 points, up 0.85%. The Nasdaq's up big, up 167, up 1.21%. And the S&P is up 42 points, just up over 1%. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate you being here. I always look forward to this time of the day and our little trading group where we can exchange ideas, help each other out. We have great poems, potential stock picks at the end of the day. So thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it. So all right, here's the plan for today. First of all, we are going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and how I'm going to manage them going forward. I did have 2 day trades today that I'm going to share with you. After that, we're going to go over to the board where my students have their positions on if they'd like to share them with me, and we're going to take a look at those. I'm looking over there, and there's a lot more green than red, so we'll go through those, take a look. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I have gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner. I do have 3 requirements whenever I'm looking to enter a new trade. First requirement, confluence combination of indicators, ideally lining up on multiple time frames. Number 2, you have to have a good risk to reward ratio, at least 2 to 1 based upon solid support below you and solid and likely resistance above you. You need to have a 2 to 1 factor at least. And then number 3, just make sure you have a good, clean trade. Your position sizing for volatility, you know where your emergency stop is, you know where your end of day stops are, you know where your profit targets are, you know you have a process so that you can trail your winner so you don't give all of them back. I would add to that also, please take into consideration the correlation of your positions. You can have seven tech stocks, but if it all goes up, it's great, it's wonderful. But if they go down altogether, then it's not so good. It's better to mix it up a little bit, spread it around so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. So with those 3 requirements, I do have some end of day candidates. I'm going to go through those different time frames, look at the risk to reward ratio, look at the combination and confluence of indicators, and if I find something that looks good, I will buy it prior to the market close. After the market closes, if anybody has any questions for me, please don't hesitate to ask. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at, please put them in the chat, put an emoji by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I will do my best to get to that before the end of the day. And then lastly, if any of my students have any new additions or subtractions to the board today, if you could please wait till after the close of the market so I'm done trading, I'm done teaching, and the pressure's off, and then I'll spend as much time as we need to get them all taken care of. Okay, so that's the plan for today, everybody. Hang tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I will be back in 40 seconds. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look and see who is here today. Kamal is here. Good to see you, Kamal. Hope you're having a good day, my friend. Dan is also here. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Steve Burns is here. Thank you for coming today, Steve. Always an honor and a privilege to have you here, my friend. I feel that way, and I know everyone else does. Steve says retail sales and unemployment numbers sent the market right back up. Fundamentals driving today. Yes. Steve says my emergency stop was hit early this morning on SPCE. Mine was as well, Steve, and we'll go over that when we go through the current positions. Lova says CPB, return to value, sideways motion. That's making mostly higher daily lows under over 200 by 1 cent. Recent 50 SMA support weekly is in the value zone. Well, this I have to see. Okay. Yeah, it is. We closed below the value zone, so now that becomes a higher low situation. We rallied up. We had 1 day down. Has not it untriggered the V2. So, yes, bounce off the 200 would have offered you a pretty good risk to reward ratio. But if I were to get interested in this, it would have to trigger the V2 first. Before I would be able to take that trade. I hope that makes sense, Lova. Frank is here. Hello, Greg and group. This is Some Market. It certainly is, Frank. Good to see you, and thank you for all your contributions, and that goes for Steve and Kamal. Let's take a look at NCNO. NCNO. Well, that's a heck of a false breakout to the downside. It's a heck of a V1. Halfway the washout bar is down here pretty far, so the risk to reward ratio is not that great, and it already rejected the 50-day moving average today. So based upon that, just by itself with the rejection of the 50, I would not take this trade, Lova. I hope that makes sense. Johnson says, hey, Greg and gang, good to see you, Johnson. Hope you are having a good day. All right, well, should we get to it? Let's see. Here we go. Starting with AGQ. AGQ is up 4.10% today. I did buy this along with Gary. We bought on the weekly bar, we bought a return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, and the V2. Bought it at 43.96. It's 46.20. It's up 5.17% so far on the trade, and getting close to a profit target on the weekly. I'll make my decisions if there are any decisions that need to be made tomorrow on Friday, because it's the last day. So that's a nice day up today. Boeing. All right. So Gary, Jonathan, David, and I did buy Boeing back on the 13th. Return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside. Bought it at 253.56 yesterday. It rocketed up, hit a profit target, but then came back down. Today it was down much, much lower. Did not test my halfway of the washout bar end of day stop here. It's down 32 cents. It's down on the trade, but it's well off of its lows today, so that is encouraging. Okay. Berkshire Hathaway. I did buy Berkshire Hathaway. This return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, V1. I bought at 250.86. Been a great trade. Moved 1.5 ATRs for my entry, so I go into trailing stop mode. I sold half here as a precautionary measure. Then another big leg up. I sold another half of a half here. When it rejected the 70-day, it rejected the 70 RSI, so I locked in. So I only have a quarter left. No profit targets today, but it is up. And from entry to the current price, this move is 6.48%. Budweiser. I did buy Budweiser along with Jonathan, Frank, Gary, and David. We bought Budweiser or I bought Budweiser anyway on the monthly chart with a higher low V2. We closed below the -1 ATR channel. We rallied into the value zone. We pulled back. We formed a V2. I bought at 62.91. It's currently 67.78. Big day today. It's up 4% just today. And I did hit a profit target on the monthly, which is impressive, I have to say. Hard to hit monthly profit targets, but it is up 7.83% from entry so far this month. All right, CVS Corporation. I did buy CVS Corporation yesterday. I think I was the only one. Return to value. We made a lower high, but we washed out that first low. Triggered a V2. I bought it at 75.03. It's currently 75.84. I did hit one profit target here at 75.69, so it's up just over 1%. Not too bad for the first day. Gold. I did buy gold with the 520 crossover. I bought here at 162.75 with the 520 crossover. Gapped up, hit two profit targets, came back down, closed below both the 5 and the 20-day EMA. Those were my signals to buy, so I sold half. I would have sold the other half if the 5 crossed back under the 20, but fortunately it's gone up and it has hit 3 profit targets today. I have a third profit target at 165.85 today. I don't know if I can hit 4, almost a trailing stop level, but up 1.71% today, and from entry to current price about about the same. So most of it came right today, the gain. GPN. I bought GPN here with a 520 crossover, false breakout to the downside, V2. I bought it at 207.72, and this has just been a rocket ship, just all the way up. Did hit 3 profit targets for me today. Did get to the 65 RSI level. So at this point, becomes an easy trade. If it ever closes below the 5 EMA, I will go ahead and just get out of the trade fully. If it goes up, rejects the 70 RSI, I'll sell half. If I get a close below the previous day's low, I will also sell half. And this is up 4.5%. Hasbro. Lilia, Quad and I bought Hasbro. False breakout to the downside, V2, 520 crossover. Bought it at 97.09. Had a big day the next day. Hit a bunch of profit targets. I think I hit one profit target yesterday. I am up no profit targets today, but I am to my trailing stop level. So at this point, if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will sell half. So this one's doing nicely. This one's up about 2.27% from entry. Light. Lilia and I and Gary has a credit spread. The $80.77 is expiring tomorrow, so he looks golden on those. But Lilia and I took the directional trade, return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, V1, bought at 91.74. It's 92.78, so it's up $1.04 from entry. I'll make any buying, selling decisions tomorrow, being that Friday is the day to make buying and selling decisions on weekly trades. But this one's up, I don't know. How much is this one up? A little over 1%. A little over 1%. All right. MasterCard. Oh, wait. I skipped one. Goldman Sachs. All right. Steve Burns, David, and myself, half a position for me, bought Goldman Sachs yesterday with a 520 crossover, bought it at 335.28. It is up 1.16% today. I did hit one profit target at 339.26. All right, over to MasterCard. Tracy, Gary, David, Jonathan, Miko, Lilia, and I did buy MasterCard with the 520 crossover here at 368.54. This has been a really great trade. Got to my trailing stop level, no trailing stops at the moment. Above 65 RSI, so if we close below the 5 EMA, I will exit the entire trade. Excuse me. This trade up 4.44%. All right. The horrible trade. Ugh. I saw yesterday that Steve posted something about some insider selling on SPCE, and I was like, oh, this trade's in trouble. So Lilia, Gary, Steve, Tracy, and I did buy. Looked like a good risk to reward ratio, tested the 200-day moving average three times actually. But today when that news came out, I did hit my emergency stop. I've hit 2 emergency stops in the last 2 weeks. Don't hit them often, but that's why you have to have them. I did get out. I had my maximum allowed loss on any one trade. I divided by the value of the 2 ATR. It got there. I don't wait till the end of the day. Luckily, because I got out at 23.84, it's 22.89, so almost $1 lower than when I got out. That doesn't always happen, but you know, from current price to where I got out, it at least saved 4.76%. So saving 4.76% is like making 4.6% if you want to look at it that way. But you know, whenever I get to my maximum allowed loss, I'm just like, that's it. That's enough. That's as much as I'll allow. I don't care what happens. If it gets there, I get out. And that's what happens. So everything else really good today, but this SPCE was brutal. Okay, SPY. I buy the SPY every day at the close. I sell it at the open. I bought it at 411.45 yesterday. I sold it at the open 411.79. So nice little overnight SPY trade. I'll buy this again today at the close, sell it first thing the next morning. VIX. I did buy VIX yesterday with the false breakouts at the downside and a V2. I bought it at 10.16, moved up nicely from my entry, but now it's down. My stop, end of day stop, is 10.09. So right now it's 9.96. So if it closes below 10.09, I'm going to have to just go ahead and get out of the trade and take the loss. All right, and then the Qs. I had an interesting day on the Qs today. I went long and short. I went long back here on the 5-minute when we had the nice 520 EMA crossover. It also triggered a fractal. A fractal is a high with 2 lower highs to the left, 2 lower highs to the right. I bought at 340.72. A few bars later, I took half profits at 341.12. Had another up bar, kept going. I sold another half at 341.32. Then I saw this short price action, false breakout to the upside and a V1 to the downside. So I reversed my long position, went short at 341.67, had a big down bar. I took half of my profits. I covered half of my short profits at 340.80. Then we had a close above the previous day's bar after moving 1.5 ATRs. I closed at 341.06, and then it got back to my break even. I sold the last quarter of their even. So good trade. Long from 340.72 out at 341.12, out at 341.32, shorted 341.37, covered at 341.80, covered at 341.06, and then even on the last quarter. All right. Yavar is here. Good to see you, Yavar. Appreciate you coming. David, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Steve says AGQ has a new 520 EMA crossover today. Does it? Oh yeah, I guess it does. Very good. Very good. APPH returned all the way back to the 200-day SMA. Oh, yes, it did. Tested the low of that range there and a bounce. Ooh, down 7.51%. Wow. BYND has a 520 crossover. You know, I tested that earlier, Steve, and on Beyond Meat, I didn't see that back tested positively. 134.75 compared to 134.67. It definitely has a 520 cross, but I looked earlier. Let me try it one more time. Oh, I have it right here. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, sorry, I was looking at something else. I don't have the ETF replay cannot backtest BYND. That's right. That's right. I got that mixed up. So does that backtest well, Steve? Steve says big TLT breakout to the upside of its range. This will lower yields. Yes, it will. Yep. When bond prices go up, interest rates go down. Big move up. Big move. A lot of sideways motion. Look at that big move. Lyft has a new 520 crossover. That's the one I tested. Oh, okay. So it does backtest 15.6% return. Sorry, I must have got those confused earlier today. So not a huge return, but I guess it is positive. Tracy, made it over. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Tracy. Good lesson last night with you and Paxton. You guys are both doing really, really well. Glad to see your Beyond Meat or your Boyd Gaming is up today. We talked a lot about that last night. Frank has a poem for us. Let us see what Frank's poem says. It's going to be good. A dollar is a dollar and a buck is a buck. Don't let the market leave you stuck. When things get shaken and stocks run amok, process and rules trump lady luck. Wow. How good is that? A dollar is a dollar and a buck is a buck. Don't let the market leave you stuck. When things get shaken and stocks run amok, process and rules trump lady luck. That's so true. That is so true, Frank. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate that. Okay, so Steve says the 520 does backtest well. So let me, okay, well, I've got that down there. Dan gives handshakes to that. Steve says NIO back to the 200-day SMA. Why am I not getting a bar on this one? Huh. Oh, there we go. Yep. Higher low test of the 200-day moving average. Good risk to reward ratio. Ava is here. Good to see you, Ava. Hope you're having a good day. Hi, Lilia. Good to see you. Ava says Linux, AMD. I have Linux. I'm going to look at that later. Yep, 520 crossover on AMD and a close back above the 200-day moving average. I do like that. All right. I do like that. Let me put that down. Over here. All right. And CF, you said? Yes. I don't know how that one backtests, though. Johnson says UNIT above the 200-day SMA. Yep. It definitely is. Steve says SIVB has a 520 crossover. So many crossovers, my gosh. Oh yeah, there you go. And MACD is positive, which is good. All right, let's take a look at current positions, everybody. See how we're doing. Oh, Lord. Okay, BYND. This is Paxton. This is Tracy. Really good trade. They bought all the way back here at about 47.80, had a big move up, took some profits here, 58.60, and it's continuing to move up. So fantastic trade. VIAC, David took VIAC at 40.20. It's currently 39.14. So it's down on the day, and it is down on the trade. CMG, nice day for Frank with the 520 crossover at 14.52. It's 15.35, up 1.13%. So that's excellent. Netflix, Johan bought Netflix with this deep dip buy at 511.81. Rode it up nicely. Yesterday had a down move. Jonathan is also in this, and it's up 1.5% today. So very good. Teladoc. Johan bought Teladoc at 182. It's 193.15. It is up 2.68%. So that's a really nice trade there. David, Johan, Kamal, and Gary did buy higher low V1 at 97.90. It's 101.30, up 0.28%, and up on the day and up on the trade as well. PKI. All right. Jonathan bought PKI at 129.70 with the 520 crossover. He sold half here and is up today. So up on the day and up on the trade. SCCO, Tracy did buy SCCO with the 520 cross at 72.38. It is currently 74.61, so it's up 1.63% today and nicely up on the trade as well. All right, we already talked about BYD. DocuSign, Johan, Kamal, David, and Bruce took DocuSign at 202.40, under 250, over 250, and a V2. Bought it at 202.40. It's 232.65, up 3.27%, and this trade is up 13.32% so far. So way to go. Riot. Gary sold credit spreads on Riot 45, 42.50s. It's 45.85. This has to stay above $45 by tomorrow in order for Gary to make his money on this particular trade. So hopefully that will stay above 45 expiring tomorrow. KMX. Lilia bought KMX with a 520 cross at 132.17. Sold half yesterday, luckily, because it is down 0.79% today. So down on the day and down on the trade. NVAX. Frank bought NVAX all the way back here at 135. It more than doubled. He sold 90% of his position. He kept 10% as a runner. And good thing he sold it up there because it did come all the way back down, moved sideways, has been a little up move lately, but fantastic trade. One of the biggest trade I've seen in a long time. And SQ, Johan bought SQ with 520 crossover, 236.60. It is 261. It's up 1% today, and this trade is up about 9.43%. Excellent. And lastly, ELY. Frank bought ELY at 27.75. It's currently 28.77, down a little bit today, but nicely up on the trade. Jonathan says, bit late, up at Portrush for the day. I don't know what that is, but that sounds good. Glad you could join us, Jonathan. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about trader psychology. You know, I have my favorite Twitter channels and Facebook channels where I read these, I internalize them. If I find something that's helpful for me, I like to share it with you. This is from our good friend Stephen Goldstein. He's at AlphaMind101 on Twitter. Great channel. Please follow Stephen Goldstein. He has a really good podcast where he interviews traders from all different, I guess I should say, all different types of traders from all over the world, professional, retail traders, hedge fund traders, currency traders, and he does in-depth interviews with them. And I really like his podcast, so you should go and support him, listen to his podcast. It's going to be helpful. Let's see what Steve has to say. Your next trade really doesn't matter. Your next 1,000 do. That's why you create processes. That's why you have to stick to them next 1,000 trades. So, you've heard me talk about this. I don't give a lot of credence to any one particular trade, right? Any one particular trade is really just random chance. But if you do have an edge and you practice and implement that edge over time, the math should work out for you if you're following your process correctly. And, I mentioned casinos many times. I used to live in Las Vegas, but casinos have a mathematical edge in most games, except for blackjack, technically, if you're counting cards, but they have a mathematical edge. And so any one particular roll of the dice or any one particular roll of the roulette ball or any dealing of baccarat, yeah, it's pretty close to 50-50 for the house or the player, but the house has that mathematical edge, and over time, that's why they build cities like Las Vegas, because that mathematical edge works out. Well, you can have the same mathematical edge in your trading if you position size correctly. Casinos position size correctly too. They have certain limits on how much they'll allow to be bet as well. And, that edge will play out for you if you have a valid back-tested approach that has an edge. Doesn't mean every trade's going to win, but over the long run, the math should work out for you just like it does for a casino. So, casinos, if they lose 10 hands in a row in blackjack, they don't freak out, clutch their pearls, and shut down shop because they had a bad day. Anything can happen in the short term, but in the long run, that edge plays out. And that's why Stephen here is talking about the next 1,000 trades. Over the next 1,000 trades, the edge should play out if you have a good back-tested approach. So thank you very much, Stephen. That was helpful for me. I hope it was helpful for everyone. But, just if you have a bad day, if your trades aren't going well, just remember, what are your results going to look like over the next 1,000 trades, not just one particular random day. Okay, so thank you, Steve. Steve says, I was wrong. GLD is an existing crossover I was already stopped out of. Okay. All right, so listen, before I start looking at new trades, I just want to currently go over my current ones. Remember, it's always more important to deal with your current trades than add new trades. So AGQ's doing great, up 3.72% today. Nothing I have to do there. Boeing down today, but still holding the 50 RSI, still holding my end of day stop. So if it were to close right here, right now, I would just go ahead and keep it. BRKB, of course, the return to value V1 has been a great trade. Okay, it rejected the 70 again, but I already took the rejection of the 70 here. So I'm just waiting for a close below the previous day's low or a close below the 5 EMA to exit and lock in full profits on this trade. Doesn't look like that's going to happen right now, so I am not going to have to do anything there. Budweiser monthly trade doing great, up 7.78%. Nothing I have to do there. CVS, the trade I took yesterday, up 0.87%, one profit target. Nothing I have to do with that. GLD, in this trade from 520 crossover, 3 profit targets today. Nothing I have to do there. GPN, at trailing stop level, but has not rejected the 70 RSI. Do not have a close below the previous day's low, so nothing I have to do there. Goldman Sachs having a nice day from yesterday's entry with the 520 cross. Nothing I have to do there either. HAS at trailing stop level, but waiting for a close below the previous day's low. MasterCard doing fantastic. We are above 65 RSI, so now this becomes an easy trade. If I get a close below the 5 EMA, I am out. SPCE, unfortunately, I guess fortunately I had a half a position. I guess that's the one right decision I made on this particular trade is I took a half position, but I did hit my emergency stop down at 23.84. So I'm already out of this trade intraday. SPY, I'm going to be buying SPY again, of course, at the close, looking for another overnight SPY trade. And then VIX looks like it's very likely going to close under my stop loss of 10.09. I bought it yesterday at 10.16. So if I got out right here, I would lose about 17 cents on this trade. So I'm going to have to watch that one pretty carefully as well. All right, IWM. So IWM does backtest well with the 1030 SMA crossover. Right now, the 10 is 222.91. The 30 is 222.98. So the crossover has not happened yet. That would not be a valid crossover. We can check over on the 1050 as well. 1050 SMA, 222.90 compared to 223.09. So this does not have a valid crossover either. If it goes up tomorrow, very likely we'll get one there tomorrow. Beyond Meat, as Steve mentioned, we have a 520 crossover. That is a good sign. Steve said it did backtest positively. So this is a potential. It's in the value zone. It's not extended. MACD is green. So that one's pretty good. Lyft does have the 520 crossover. I stand corrected. I think I told Lilia earlier that it did not backtest well, but it does, but I think only like 15%. So that one's a possibility as well. But if I look at Lyft, we have a 520 crossover. MACD is red. If I look at Beyond Meat, we have a 520 crossover. MACD is green. So generally, I'm always going to go with the one that has the green MACD bars. Nike. So Nike right now does have a false breakout to the downside from here and a V2. 133.54. It's currently at 133.56. It would have to hold above 133.54 in order for me to take this trade. So that is also definitely a possibility. MCK, return to value, sideways motion. This also has a V2 and a false breakout to the downside. Here's the low of the downside. Here is day 1, 2, and 3. Day 2 washes out day 1. Right now we are above day 1's close, so this one is good too. We went under 50, over 50. 393,000 shares traded, so not a ton. I don't like the big down bar though on that weekly. That's the only thing that concerns me. This big bar here it is on the daily. Doesn't mean we can't rally up. It is up today, but I still think I like Beyond Meat, Nike better so far. PSTG, don't see anything there. Yelp, sideways motion. That thing should move one way or the other. I just don't know which way. Verizon, I don't see anything on Verizon either. XLNK, that's the one. I think I tried to backtest this. I could not get this did not allow me to backtest, but this is a V2 with the 520 crossover and probably, let's see, 122.97. 122.82 and a false breakout to the downside. So that one looks fairly good, but I don't know about the back test. PRLB, really don't see anything there. CLX, false breakout to the downside and a V2. So that one's not too shabby. I like the weekly in the value zone, up 1.44%. Yeah, that one's not bad. GTLS, no. Lemonade is down. I don't see anything there. I mean, I guess I do. It is a V1 and it false breakout the downside, but it's down. I don't like that. JKHY, Jack Henry and Associates. It is a V2 in the value zone. We did reject the 1 ATR channel, so I'm not thrilled about that. And it's only 191 shares traded. ALKS looks like it has a 520 crossover. I think I tried to backtest this. I wasn't able to backtest this. ROL. It's a V2, but it didn't wash out the low. So that's not a false breakout down. So I would not be interested in that one. And Slab. No fractal. Only 132,000 shares traded. So currently right now, I like Beyond Meat with the 520 crossover. If we look over on the weekly, it's in the value zone. That looks pretty good. Nike does have a V2, is up 1% today. Although we're coming from a lower low now, but it's kind of negated by the false breakout, the downside. It's okay. I think I'd rather have something with the 50 RSI above me, to be honest with you. And so CLK, Clorox it does look decent. It has a V1 on the weekly as well. Would have to hold above 50 RSI. So right now, let's see, Beyond Meat and Clorox. Do a little math here. So those are my two favorite, Beyond Meat and Clorox at the moment. So let me switch some of these things around here. Beyond Meat. And Clorox. Those are my two potentials. And the one that I am having to look at today, what was that? Okay, SPC is out of there. Boeing's okay. CVS is okay. GPN is good. MasterCard's cranking. Oh, VIX is the one I have to watch. If it closes below 10.09, I'm going to have to exit the trade. And right now it's 9.96. I mean, it definitely could close above by the end of the day. Who knows? So, you know, Beyond Meat has a 520 crossover. It had a V1 yesterday to the downside that reversed back up now this way. I like that also. We're above, we've gone above. We have the big down bar. We're above 50% of that, which is good. So has positive momentum. MACD is positive. We're under 50, over 50. If I compare that to Clorox, well, MACD is not green. We are above 50. We don't have a crossover. I think I would probably have to go with Beyond Meat at this point as my favorite. Okay. Dave said, I think you're always looking at the 70 RSI, but you are talking about the 65 RSI all the time as your exit when it goes up above. Yeah, so David, if I get above 65 RSI, of course I'd rather have it go up to the 70 RSI and reject it because it's higher. But if I do get up to the 65 RSI, David, that's just a new level for me. That once it gets to 65 or it's been to 65, then if it does close below the 5 EMA, I'm just going to go ahead and get out, because sometimes you don't quite get to the 70 RSI. Like take Global Payments, for example, right? We're at 65.46. We're above the trailing stop level. We've got above 65. Well, there's nothing to say that it has to go up to the 70, right? I mean, right here, we're at the third ATR channel. So there's nothing to say we have to. I'd rather have it go. But this is such a high, big move. I don't want to give it all the way back. So I've just identified that 65 RSI level as a good level for me. I mean, everything I do is I look at levels. And so if and when I'm ever in a trade, whether it's a crossover trade, whether it's a return to value V1 trade, any kind of trade, deep dip buy, if it moves it up to the 65 RSI level, that's my cue to go, okay, I want it to go higher. I'd rather it reject the 70. I mean, I want it to go to 80, right? But if it gets to 65 RSI, that's when this new rule kicks in, and that if I do get a close below the 5 EMA, then I'm just going to exit the whole position. Because once you become extended above the 5 EMA, like we are right here, that 5 EMA has been acting as support. If I finally get a close below the 5 EMA, then that tells me something has kind of changed, because the 5 EMA is a good level when you're extended above it. But if you break it, it's a little bit of a warning sign, possibly, that the end of the move, the up move, is over. Does that make sense, David? Lova says CPB. Thing is, though, on this CPB, well, that's a tough one. So the close there, 48.86. So yes, you are right. It technically is a V2. So not bad. 1.35 million shares traded. So that looks okay. It looks like it has enough liquidity for sure. I like higher lows the best when they have green MACD bars. It is a little bit off of its high. Like, it's okay. I mean, the stop would be halfway of the washout bar, for me anyway, right there. So it is a good risk to reward ratio. And you mentioned the weekly, so let's look at the weekly as well. Well, when I look at this weekly, I see a big down bar last week, and I see us holding right at halfway. So that's what concerns me a little bit. It's a 50% Fibonacci retracement off the lows into the big down bar. Okay, so VIX looks like I'm probably going to have to take my loss on VIX here. I'll give it 10 minutes, but it is looking like that right now. So for me, BYND looks the best to me for today with the 520 crossover, and we had the V1 to the downside. They immediately reversed. We've been able to rally more than 50% of the big down bar, so that looks like there's some support there, and I'm gonna take the Beyond Meat trade today. Qs looks like they're making a high on the day. Wow, look at that straight up March. Wow. Clorox making a new high on the day. It's got above all those moving averages now. That is also good. Yeah, David says totally. When I took my class with you, we did the 70. Lately, I noticed you were referring. Yeah, it's a new addition, David. It's a new rule that I've implemented, I guess, over the last 45 days. So I did hit a profit target here on Berkshire, so that's good. I may I may possibly take Clorox tomorrow on a higher low V1 trade on Friday. So that's option for Clorox as well. Tomorrow anyway. All right, so we have 5 minutes till the close. Okay, so Steve says U has another crossover, another 520 crossover. 160 cents compared to 160 cents. So remember, when they're even, that does count as a crossover. Steve says, I am now long all of these. SIVB, Lyft, Beyond Meat, AGQ. Oh, did IWM trigger? I don't have that triggering here. And this is the 1030 SMA. And then I also have the 1050 SMA, and this also has not triggered, Steve. So maybe we have different settings. Those are SMAs. Yeah, I have those too. Mine don't have those readings. All right, so I'm going to get queued up here to buy BYND. Full position. All right, looks like I'm going to have to adhere to my VIX stop. Although I'll wait this one out. We are almost there, everybody. 15 seconds on my end anyway. All right, there we go. So all in all, not too bad. A lot of good trades today, good day trades. The only one got me was space. But that is how trading goes sometimes, everyone. You will hit your emergency stops. I did buy SPY, the overnight SPY trade at 415.87. I did buy Beyond Meat at 137.28. And I got rid of VIX. So I got rid of VIX. I also got rid of SPCE, and I got in SPY at 415.87, the overnight SPY trade, and I got in Beyond Meat with the 520 crossover at 137.28. And that's that. So listen, if any of my students have any new entries or exits for me today, go ahead, put them up on the board or put them in the chat. I'll get them all updated real quick. Just want to remind everybody that I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I do have a 15-hour course that I teach, 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. In each session, I teach you one of the 5 strategies that I use. That's why there's 5 lessons, and there are all sorts of different strategies: trend trading, deep dip buys, V1s, V2s, double bottoms, bullish divergences. But in each one-on-one lesson, I teach you specifically step by step exactly how to trade it. So when you're done with that lesson, you should know exactly how to trade that setup. And I've been using these setups for a long time. It's very important that my students succeed. I really like to see all the students that I have taught that have become really good traders. So it's important to me. It really is important to me. So, if you do decide to take this course with me, I will 100% give it my all. So the course costs $1,750, but I think it's well worth it. I think it's worth every penny based upon what you're going to learn and the experience from my 25 years of trading that I'm going to teach you. And when you're done, I know you're going to be a better trader. So if you are interested in possibly doing the one-on-one course with me, just send me an email. The email's in the description of this video. In the email, just say, hey, Greg, I'm interested in possibly taking your one-on-one course. I'll reply, say, let's set up a Skype call. I want to learn more about you and your trading, your challenges, your goals, and it's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course, any specific questions you have. And then when we're done with the call, think about it as long as you like. And then, if you decide you want to schedule, just get back with me and we'll get it all set up. Secondly, I do have a really good online course available now at udemy.com. Before I was telling you about the 5 approaches that I use. So I created the first online course. It's called the Deep Dip Buy Stock Trading Strategy. I use that strategy all the time. It's one of my favorites. The course on Udemy is somewhere between $12 and $15. It's very affordable, and you get 9.5 hours of video. You get 26 videos total, and you get 15 study guides. I've gotten some really great reviews and some really good feedback from people that have been taking this course. So, for the money, for $12 or $15, you are getting a super smoking deal, and it's going to help your trading. I promise you. So the link to that Udemy course is in the description. And then lastly, if you like today's podcast, I really sincerely would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It does help to build the channel, helps keep the channel around, lets YouTube know that there's some valuable content. So if you did like today's podcast, I really would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button before we get out of here, or before you get out of here. Okay, now let's get back over to business. And let's see, Steve, SIBV, okay, that's Steve. Steve bought this with the 520 crossover, and he bought it at $511.26. Oh, good price. Okay. And he also bought Lyft at $64.70. And he also bought Beyond Meat. And he bought AGQ. All right, so let's see. How should I do this? I'll do this on the daily at, where did you get that, Steve? 4607. Okay. Okay, I'm now long IWM. All right, so Steve went long IWM at 224.12. And Steve says that is based upon the uh, 10:30 and come on, 10:30 and 10:50 SMA cross. Frank is in Beyond Meat. Alrighty. Steve said, weird. My SMAs have triggered on IWM. They were even yesterday as well. Huh. Interesting. Kamal is out of VIX. Kamal says, thanks, Greg, and all. You are welcome. SIVB is Tracy. And Beyond Meat. Oh, and Steve is now long U as well. How should I do this? Well, okay, I guess I'll go here. And then I'll just put Steve over here at 101.90. So we'll put a 101.90 there. That should take care of that. David is at a VIAC. Where is that one? Okay. Out of Viacom. And in Beyond Meats. Tracy said his lessons are great. I'm learning so much. Thank you, Tracy. You are doing really well on those lessons, I'll tell you that. For sure, both you and Paxton. Okay, so VIX, David is out of VIX. Jonathan says, cheers, guys. Thank you, Jonathan. Lova says, what was your emergency stop on Spice? I'm showing the ATR was 251. Well, you have to look at the day that I bought it. So the day that I bought it, the 2 ATR was 404. And okay, Lily is out of VIX. All right, so everybody's out of VIX. Out of Spice. Yeah, that was a bummer. That was a bummer. Only saving grace, it was a half position for me, but still. And Lilia in Beyond Meat. You know, love, I was just noticing that when I put my emergency stop, I looked at today's 2 ATR, not the day that I bought it. So it actually messed that up a little bit. But regardless, it it's close to the same. I hope that makes sense. Because the number from right today compared to when I bought it was a little bit different. So that did have an effect on my emergency stop, but fairly close. Okay, so we have Lilia out of, and then Beyond Meat is Lilia. Okay. Okay. And CLK. CLX, I mean. Yeah, pretty good one too. Pretty good one. It got better at the end there for sure. Let's see, no price? All right. Good luck with that, Lilia. I hope that does well. Brian says, any comments on Apple? Like it till earnings? Thanks. Let's look at Apple. Well, Brian, it's a little high for me. It's above the third ATR channel. I never buy up in those areas. What's going to do till earnings? I have absolutely no idea, but we are pretty far extended. I mean, we're up at the fourth ATR channel. It's possible it could get to the sixth ATR channel, maybe go up another $5 or so. But I wouldn't just blindly buy it here hoping. At the very least, I'd wait for a pullback here in between the value zone channel in here. Probably more likely than not to go up than to go down, but I don't, the way that I trade, Brian, I don't see anything here that would get me interested in buying this at this level. All right, what's going on after hours? Silver's up a little. Boeing's down a little. Budweiser's unchanged. Beyond Meat is up a little. That's good. CVS down a little bit. Gold down a little bit. So nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. SPY's down a little bit. VIX is probably up a little bit. Yes, it is. So you got that, Leva? Okay, good. Yeah, the 2 ATR on the day that I bought it, technically that's the one I want to use. But when I saw it down so far today, I just glanced at what the 2 ATR was on the current day, and I used that as my emergency stop. Lily says, thank you, Greg. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Lilia. You too. Brian says, thank you. You are sure welcome, Brian. All right, if you have any other questions, let me know real quick. Just want to do my thing that I do every day. Just remind everybody, good saying from Martin Kornfeld, if we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. So how about we go out, try to do one nice thing for another human being today. Try to go out, do one nice thing for an animal. It's going to make both of them feel good. It's going to make you feel good. And if everybody did that every day, the world would be at a better place. So let's try to make that a goal every day. Just one random act of kindness for a human, one random act of kindness for an animal. That would be great. That would be awesome. So, well, pretty good day today, other than not Beyond Meat, other than SPCE. But sometimes, you get newsed. Right? So I still have Gary, Steve. Oh no, Steve is out. Steve is out of Virgin. Yeah, he hit his emergency stop as well. So I still have Gary and Tracy in SPCE. Is that correct? I don't think I saw anything from Gary. No, maybe he'll let us know tomorrow. Maybe he will let us know tomorrow. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything I can help anyone with? All right. Well, I think that's it, everybody. Thank you for coming. Have a good rest of your day. Go out and do something nice for somebody. Be good. Be safe. Take your vitamins. Be kind, right? And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And again, if you like today's podcast, I really would appreciate if you could hit that thumbs up button before you click out of here. So thanks again. Have a good rest of your day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and Forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.